Hi, I'm Peter.
And I'm Ketmia.
Welcome back after a short break to the This and That chat. We sounded like a radio station.
Yes, but when we
Welcome
took
to
the super long... Oh, did we say that? When we took a super long break? This is just a week break.
Yeah. So last week was crazy.
Why exactly?
We had just a lot of stress that was carrying over.
And then we decided we need to just unplug, literally.
Yeah. If we would have recorded an episode last week, it would have sounded like this. Hi. Hi.
I can't hear you at all. Can other people hear you?
It's like, hi.
Oh, you're doing the Ross high. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, it's not funny when you have to explain it.
Well, people won't understand it.
If they watch Friends, they will.
That's true. But can we look at, I don't know if to label this irony or what in the actual...
Beep bop bitty boo boo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But last week we were like, we're so stressed. Let's take the week off and just like do nothing, right?
Yeah.
And then I would exchange myself with me from last week. And I would say, oh, child, next weekend is going to be 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And yet we're recording today.
Yeah, but I feel like this week we kind of wanted to put stuff out. No?
Is that what you want to do?
I just feel like talking.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I feel like one of the things that keeps this pleasant, I think, for both of us is just the fact that we get to talk, right? And we don't have like a list of we need to do all these advertisements for such and such sponsors and we have to talk about this specific thing. It can be that, we don't record one week. We do. And sometimes it's therapeutic. I don't feel like it would be enjoyable if it felt forced.
Right.
So, and it's different for both of us depending on that week. Like sometimes it does kind of feel like a little bit of a chore just because I'm a little bit tired. But then once we get into it,
right, it doesn't feel like that, and it goes by quick.
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, we sit here and we talk to you guys for an hour. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Just depends on kind of how the conversation is going. And to us, it doesn't seem like it's that long because we spend all day long talking to each other, and it just becomes... the only difference is we're in front of a microphone.
Right. And it's interesting because I feel like when you listen to the episode later, you can tell when there's like a shift in mood, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can tell, right? And so I don't know, but for me, I think maybe some people feel like that's not really how they are in real life, right? Maybe it's just for the show. But I feel like how we're feeling on that day, it comes through. Not that we mean to have like a less than epic,
stellar,
right? Episode, but sometimes that's just how we're feeling. We're either emotionally stressed, physically tired, whatever it is. And I appreciate the fact that I don't have to be on all the time for a show. And that conversation sort of came up this week in class where there's a girl at my school. She's not in my class, okay? But every time that she has interacted with us, I feel like I'm at Disney World and you have like the super high pitched,
Bubbly,
animated,
over the top.
person who's talking to you. And I
That's got
promise you,
that's
I
got to
feel
be
like she's plugging right into me and draining whatever energy I have for me.
that has to be exhausting for her.
But what if some people never turn off? I mean, I wonder, like, is that a thing? Do some people not turn off? And I'm saying not because they feel like they have to be on all the time, right? Because clearly that would be one reason. I wonder if some people are just there all the time, that they have never been anything else.
I'm exhausted thinking about it. I can't imagine being like I'm a personable person. I have to be because
You
my
have
my
clients
business
and
calls for me to be, the face of a company, and I've got to be, hey, how are you doing? What is it you need? This is what I suggest. This is how we should do it. This is how much it's going to cost. Like all those things, I've got to be able to communicate that to people, and not be, like not turn them off, because then otherwise they're not gonna want to, have services through my company. So, I sometimes find it extremely difficult to hide the exhaustion, because sometimes it's 4 o'clock or it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and somebody wants to come talk to me about, their little 3 foot by 8 foot strip of land in the front of the building that they own, that they want to put, 75 oak trees, and you're like, no, that doesn't work. But it's exhausting because, they have an idea in their mind, oh, this is what I would like for this to look like. But then, a professional comes in and says, hey, hold on a second, that's not going to work.
right.
So it's exhausting in the fact that then you have to try and be creative and move around stuff and all that kind of stuff.
And
But-
you're just at the end of your day
and
done.
you're at the end of the day and you're done. So I can't imagine like going an entire day, especially in a job like mine, which is extremely exhausting, to like be on all day long. I'd need a midday recharge, I guess.
And I mean, maybe I'm speaking from no area of expertise, whatever, just my own personality interacting with a ridiculously polar opposite personality of mine, right? I don't really know if some people just live at that level all the time and to them it's fantastic. Of course, other people feel like they have to be on like that all the time, right? But I feel
how
like
many
I don't have the energy to care if someone else wants me to, hey, don't show how you're feeling right now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry that I can't fit your mold, but this is just how I feel right now.
how many people like that? Like how many people like that don't know who they really are anymore because they're on all the time? Because we deal with that. We run into people that you never really truly get to know. And then something happens and their true colors come out. And you're like,
Well, and when do we
Dang.
best see that?
in the most stressful situations.
I'm saying in true crime,
Right?
right? I'm just saying you have these people who look perfect example. The case that we followed all of last year was, right, Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, right? They had a social media channel together. There was this perception of who they were in front of their followers, right? But then people are shocked to find out he killed her. Because there's the TikTok star who's in jail right now for killing his wife. There's the guy, Chris Watts, who killed his wife, and she was on social media. She had a following and all that stuff. So, I mean, I feel like that when you're an actress or when you're in the public eye, I think it is hard to turn yourself off because and I think you can see this good with like actresses and
Mm-hmm.
actors, is you never know when the paparazzi's watching and how they're going to spin that
And
and how they're
sometimes they catch them in the
right.
most inopportune times, and then they say, "Oh, these people are whatever."
Right, right. And it's
So,
all salacious gossip and all that stuff. But I feel like maybe some people have, like you said, have lost themselves and they don't know how to be off.
so for us, because we are putting ourselves out there all the time, then when we get famous, we can just keep doing the stuff the same way we do it.
Well, and I think actually that's what may actually be refreshing about our podcast. You know, I think it's very curious to me anytime that I see someone, because you know I have several people I follow on YouTube, and the ones that I enjoy the most, they are, you can tell that the best that they did was that they put a camera on some sort of a stand, right? And they have good lighting with what they're doing. But sometimes things are just messy and they're just having a conversation
Right? They're
with
they're
you, you
real.
know?
They're real.
And it just feels like, okay, I don't know, I can relate to you more,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But, you know, even in the show we were watching yesterday with Next Level Chef, one of the contestants there said that a lot of people perceive her as bougie, as extra. And she said, I could not be further from that.
Mm-hmm.
That
But
really stuck out to me.
yeah, that's the persona that she's pushing out.
Right,
Because
but then it's like she just said, nobody really knows me then.
yeah,
That's wow, you
but
know?
yeah, I listen. In the last year and a half, 2 years, we've had people in our lives that have shown true colors, and it has caused a lot of hurt. It's caused a lot of pain, and it's been like an intricate part that keeps popping up in our daily lives, even 2 years after. And that person's moved on. They're doing whatever they're gonna do. They don't care. You know. Yeah. I just. I, help me.
Okay, well, I was
I
going in somewhere else, so I'm
I
gonna
know
let.
the thing is it's like wanting to spill out.
Well, something happened this week that I feel like it kind of relates to what you're saying. Okay, I was trying to do like an adjustment to an article of clothing, trying to sort of tuck it in a little bit to give it a little bit more shape. And in order to do that, I had to undo the seam, right? And you don't just start pulling at the seam and just tearing it open, right? There's a special tool that helps you go in there and you have to pull out thread by thread until you open up the space that you want to open up. It's tedious. It's, you know, labor intensive, but when you do it, you haven't damaged anything else in the fabric, right? And as I'm sitting there doing that, all of a sudden, I think about this entire situation that you talked about. And I thought about exactly what you said. This, like you said, this intricate thing that's happening where it pops up and, you know, it goes away and then it pops up. And then it's like you think, just when you think you're over it and you're past it, all of a sudden, here it is again, right? And as I'm sitting there doing that, I was thinking, we're literally, and I know how much you hate deconstructed food, you're deconstructing a all this thing that you built in your life intertwined with these people that took years and years and years to build, right? And there's like this very tight pattern of threads that is holding all of this stuff together. And now you're literally pulling all of this. It's not just broken and it's over, right? In order for you to rebuild, it's you're in like disentangling yourself from all of this thing that was built up.
Right,
You know,
you're weaving yourself back out the way you came in.
kind of, whichever way, you know. And but that's why it's
Because it would cause so much more to just cut it off. That's the
To
thing.
retain your integrity.
Yeah, that's the thing that frustrates me the most with this whole thing. We won't go into details because that's not what we're trying to do here. But like someone betrayed us in such a way that it has caused us to question our choices for friendships. And I think that was something that was really difficult for me. Like when we first started, hold on, let me go back just a little bit more. So my dad taught me always growing up that you have acquaintances, not friends, as a protective mindset because he got hurt, right?
By a friend.
By a
I'm
friend.
assuming.
Right.
All right.
So there's a mindset that you kind of create, and I always was like trying to break that mold just enough. It was really ingrained, so it was really against my better nature because of how I was taught. So it took work for me to break out of that. And I would say, like 5 or 6 years ago, I really kind of broke out of that shell.
Fully.
And, yeah,
Because
fully.
it's way
It's
much
been
a
very,
longer
right,
process.
it's a longer process.
Right.
But like 5 or 6 years ago, like I broke out of that shell completely and fully. And this person became a dear friend. His family became dear to us. Ketmia was a dear friend. Eventually, they worked together. Like, there was a relationship there that was much, much closer than your average relationship. And we always thought that they had our better interest in mind. And when we had a situation that caused some stress to our family, that we needed friends at that time to stand by us and stand with us, they chose to essentially cut us off. Am I on the nose a little bit?
I mean, in a very, I feel okay. So
The people who know will know.
I understand,
And I don't
yeah.
know that, like, I'm not trying to air the laundry out. I'm trying to get to a point. But I want there to be an understanding of the hurt that was created in it.
Yeah.
So much so that there was, it's a deep cut that when we thought we had gone through it, reared its ugly head again and just opened up the wound, because it was almost like we had a piece of tape that was holding the wound together, so it was never mended well. And in the last few weeks, last month or so, it's popped back up in different forms, and a lot of new feelings have come out because of it. And something happened this week that we felt created a almost a little bit of an excitement in us, because we were almost like justified in the situation, but then you quickly lose that, and it doesn't it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. And there's a lot of emotion that was attached to this. And yesterday we went for we went to go get some new tattoos that we wanted to get. And I had felt that what I wanted to get was going to be something that was going to be meaningful to me as a reminder of that situation. And it didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it. It was not a bad tattoo. It was tattooed very well. So it's not like I have a botched job on my arm. But the vision of it didn't match my vision. And what I felt leaving the shop yesterday was I was angry. I felt rage. I was extremely like, I mean, Ketmia can jump in and I think she's just letting me talk now. But I felt the pain because it didn't fit what I wanted it to be. And at the end, it ended up being ironic and exactly what it needed to be. It was I'm going to use nice words because I was upset yesterday, so the words weren't very nice. But it was a screwed up situation that came from a screwed up situation. And now I have something that's going to remind me of what it was. And at the end of it, it just sucks to feel like that. It sucks to get pulled away from what you considered family and just to be stomped on and then see them just move on and do stuff like nothing, like if it did nothing to them. That stings. It stings, and it's caused rifts in my marriage, like
To whom?
to that other lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Very nice, very
Thank
nice
you.
how you broke
Thank you.
the tension, because I was going, my soapbox was like shaking. No, but it like Ketmi and I, like, we had to come to a realization that, hey, hold on a second, we're not against each other, so let's look at where we're at, before we continue to to bring these emotions up. Anyways, I I I'm at a loss for words because I don't share emotion very well. And I don't know why I shared it here. I think I feel safe behind the mic.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, even though I'm sharing it to our bazillion followers. Bazillion minus. Yeah. To everyone who's listening.
Yeah.
And if it gets to the ears that it gets to, then let it be. But it just sucks because like damn, it's so, there's so little time for us, especially now, where you're going to school full time, the business is picking up. I'm going into tree trimming season. There's so much that's going on, and then we have this little pocket of time that we can spend. And like Camille was saying, if she could, talk to herself back last weekend and say, "Oh, you have no idea what's coming," it's because we have spent the last couple days, and this is what it's been. It's been stressful, not only because of school and work and, Nikki moving up to Orlando and Mike, moving this weekend. Like, there's so much other stuff that's going on all at the same time that then it causes you to, like, just lose focus of the 20 minutes that you have together, 30 minutes that you have together, because that's just what comes up in a conversation, and I'm upset about it because I'm tired of it being so important in our lives.
Right. But so some observations and self-reflections that I have done in the same time, right? Is it's a permanent scar that we are going to have. Okay. And it isn't one of those scars that is going to blend away with the skin and you're never going to see it again. I feel like it's just always going to be on us because it drastically altered both of us. in many, many, many ways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if there is a going back to whatever that spot was before. Nor do I think that I would want to. Okay, these are things that I've reflected on myself, which sucks because then at the conclusion of it, what you learn is that sometimes really horrible situations bring you to a better place personally, mentally,
But you got to go through
whatever.
them.
But it's going to take something from you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so it's one of those where it's the perfect example of being refined by fire, right? And it sounds really, really cool, right? Okay, you're going to apply pressure on this piece of coal until it becomes a diamond, right? And then diamonds are selling for millions and millions of dollars. But and everybody, see, that's the thing. It's like everybody wants to get to that better me, right? The me that has grown, the me that's a diamond and all this stuff. But then when you present the situation and you say, yeah, but this is going to press you to the point of breaking you. Nobody, not even me, grateful for it now, would say, yes, yeah, put me through that. No, right? It's only after you see where you've grown from that you can appreciate the process that you've been through, right? And so I feel like that's a contradiction too, because as much as I'm grateful for the me that has emerged from this, right? I still would not choose this. But also, I wouldn't choose to stay there either. So that's the contradiction, because you have to pick one or the other, right? You can't have both. The other thing that I have assessed is that the pain that it causes, the closer we are to the pain, the more severe the wound is, right? If the further you move away from it, then it's like it doesn't look as bad as you first thought that it was, right? So at the end result, yes, we experienced betrayal. Yes, we experienced a dying off of a relationship that could be equated to a cutoff, right? Of forgetting of, right, of us. But I know that these were not the intentions that were set out. I feel like what we got to experience is the bad side that we are all capable of. It's just this time it got played towards us, you know? And you would think I would never play my bad side towards a friend. I would do everything to protect that person from that. And yet, I mean, that's why it hurts. That's why it's so extreme. That's why it's been such a long time and there's still this pain from it. And then to tie it all up into a very nice bow, when you don't have closure with something, when you're not able to put it to rest because it's still alive, then you're supposed to heal up without ever going to the hospital. Which, think about it, that isn't something that we had a chance to do. We didn't have a chance to go and sit with someone who was going to help us work through that. We had to.
We started.
Well, but it never got there.
I know,
it
but
never, because we were dealing with family stuff.
I know.
You know,
but
so
it started, right? And ironically, he put a stop to it. How you like that? Yeah, insane. I just it really shows me that it's hard. It's hard to navigate the it's hard to navigate the things that we value in the current time that you're in. Does that make sense? Let me try and rephrase it, because in my mind I was still trying to put it together. So, like, we thought that there was something valuable, so we tried to preserve it, and we did everything that we could do to preserve it, everything that we could possibly do to preserve it, and at the end, there was no saving it because it was fake.
Or it wasn't reciprocated to that level. That's where I feel like you and I are, and I feel like we've said this to each other anyway. I don't know if we've ever said this on the chat, but we are in different places at different times. I think that's what made it harder for us to deal with this in a togetherness, because we weren't together in those places.
Yeah,
you know?
our speed of closure, our speed
Right.
of healing has been different. We met a couple times though,
Right. But I'm saying,
and that's where we thought we're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. So
We're making
where I have dissected a situation, analyzed it, and gotten to a conclusion, right? You're still at like the raw end of that, right? And then on other things that you're kind of like, I'm not even thinking about it, I'm over it. That's still a very raw pain for me, So I feel like we've definitely, we're whatever we have failed in, we have definitely been good about, like, take your time. You take your time. No, but we have neither of us have said to the other, oh, you should get over
get
it,
over it. Let's go.
or
Catch
oh,
up.
no, like, I'm already over it, nothing. It has been move at your own pace. And while that has been good, it has also been frustrating.
Right,
That's where it
because
has
we
caused
want,
rifts.
yeah, we want to sit together, but
And I think that also, like, even our own perception of the events that happened has affected the way that we are processing this, because while you may be looking at point A and B, I'm looking at it from point C and D, and to me, that's way more important than A and B. But to you, it's the other way. So it's all of these things where I think when you have a relationship, look, that's exactly what it was, a relationship, right? You see it in the movies. The girl or the guy is like 100% in, no fear of commitment. I'm here, I've got your back, join me. And then you've got the other person who is like, yeah, I love you, but I'm also pursuing my career, right? And then you always see this where they get to this point where the one person chooses something else over that person, even if it's their fear, right? And they run away. And then this is the part of the movie where they are apart and they're broken up and you're like, oh my God. And then what happens? One person drives to the other person's place and then they're like, never mind.
Pull out the stereo and they put it over their head.
I choose you.
I choose you.
I choose you, right?
You had me
right?
at hello.
Right? And then it ends happy. But they went through all that mess to get there, right? That's essentially what we experienced. Was we were 100% into the relationship, right? When it got tested, the other person was not as invested as we wanted them to be. That's, to me, I feel like that's been the thing that has helped me sort of like package up these little things and put them away, is realizing that While you could have asked them, are you invested in the relationship? And they would have answered, 100% I'm invested. Their idea of investment was nowhere close to what ours was. And so that's where we meet. And it's like, oh, but I thought like you'd fight for us. And you're like, oh, you didn't ask. And then it's like, but if you cared, you wouldn't have to ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you miss each other, where they could say, yeah, I'm invested, but all of a sudden you realize, wait, it wasn't at my level. And that is what is, I think, the disappointing, factor in all of this is that you thought you were on the same page. You thought you both wanted the same things. You thought all of this stuff. And then when the time came that you said, hey, I've got this person watching my back, they're like, oh, yeah, no, I don't. And then it feels like your entire world is a lie. Like the rug has been ripped out from underneath you. And that's why, think about it, right? That's why the pain is more on our side. While the other person, and this is any person then being that other person, would be able to walk away from the
Because
situation like,
they're oblivious to it.
right, like, oh, you thought yeah, I didn't know you wanted me to do that.
Yeah,
So,
no.
you know, and every married couple has experienced this because there's times where I really, really like, oh, Peter's going to do something so romantic. He's going to be like holding out his arm and saying, come here, I want to hug you. Because you're holding out your arm and I'm imagining this, right? And I'm walking towards you like, he wants to hug me. And then you're like, no, the pen. Give me the pen. And you're like, how did he not read the situation? Every couple has these
Fail.
moments, but you work through them, and it isn't, I don't know, I feel like it's expected. That's the thing. The other thing is that the reason why I feel like betrayal hurts so much is because it comes from those that you don't expect it. Right now, you could have a random person at school go and make a random rumor about me and start something. I have zero connection to that person.
Right.
Right?
There's nothing invested.
Nothing. And that is not a betrayal. I don't even know you. But then if that comes from someone I trust and someone that I have their back 100%, you have my back, right? And then it's like, no. That's where you question everything. You question, do I not have good intuition when you're reading people? Did I make bad choices in who I opened myself up to? Did I make myself too vulnerable? All of it's such a natural thing to see yourself close up afterwards because you're trying to protect yourself, that it makes sense that something that was so and on such a grand scale to happen to you would take such a long time for it to repair itself to whatever the new you is going to be, and where we want to be is not closed, right? That's not the final resting place I want for myself.
No, I don't want that either, but I feel like we kind of need to be there.
Right. And I have accepted, that's another thing. I have accepted that it's okay to be where we are right now. And that does not mean this is forever. And if it is forever, like I'm looking way too far ahead, I just need to be in the right now.
Yeah.
And for right now, that's what is needed for us. Is it possible that at some point we are going to look back and say, remember when we thought we couldn't trust again? Remember when we thought we would never open ourselves up again? And we have, and it's good? We can be there. You know, I'm not making anything happen one way or the other. I'm just allowing whatever the process is to just
Yeah,
happen.
whatever comes out of it comes out of it.
Correct. You
Yeah.
know, and I mean, I don't know, but I think that in the end, we can be better people for it.
I think so. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyways, maybe we should end with some fun stuff.
why? This
Just
is one of the, listen, I am positively sure you sort of hinted at this some episodes ago.
I did.
And I'm so sure that at least one listener somewhere has been, wait, something happened. Are they going to say what happened? And we didn't say what happened. And someone somewhere is listening to this. Someone somewhere has experienced betrayal, and they have experienced the pain that comes with it, the super long healing process after, and they are who they are because of it, right? Our experiences make us who we are. So I know that that is something that's very relatable, sadly, right, to a lot of people,
It's almost more commonplace than not.
which is sad,
Yeah.
which is very sad. And you feel like, I'm going to be prepared. That's never going to happen to me again. It can. It can. And the next time that it happens, unfortunately, it's going to be from, again, another person that you did not see it coming from. You know? But I feel like it's been bubbling up in you, and you have needed to sort of exercise that out of you,
Yeah. I'm still working through it.
of course. But I'm saying I feel like it's something that you have kept to yourself rather than speaking about it on the chat. You have kept that private, and it
But I
has
think
reached a
because
point where,
well, this weekend.
right.
So, anyways, we wanted to unplug so much so last weekend, and that's
And what did we do last weekend?
and that's probably why we survived this week, just because of the fact that we were able to, unplug, and we unplugged so much that we went back to the 14th century.
Oh my God. When you know what
Can
you were
you
doing
not
on your
let
phone.
me at
No, no, no,
least-
no, no. When you
Can
know
you not
what
let-
you were
let's-
doing.
Can you not let me have this?
Wow.
Just
Noah.
laugh, even if it's fake. Let's try it again. We wanted to unplug so much that we went as far back as the 14th century. That's your cue. That's
You get a smile. That's all you get.
barely a smile.
Nope.
No?
Is that what you were doing on your phone?
Yes, I was looking. I wanted to make sure.
Oh my gosh. So I look over at you and I see you on your phone, and I'm like, we're in the middle of a and you have a habit of doing this. When we're having a very important conversation that you started, and then I look over and you're like already la 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 somewhere else, and it's like, hello, now you got me going and you've moved on. And I look over and I'm like, what are you doing on your phone? Like, are you answering a message right now when we're doing this in the middle of such an important conversation? And then I see now that there's no possible way you could have known that.
That's horrible.
But is it true?
Yeah. Anyways.
Wait,
so
what happened in the 14th century,
so
Peter?
I'm going there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Goodness gracious.
Okay.
So we went to the Renaissance Fair that we hadn't been to for a very long time. It has been years
Yes.
since we have been.
About 10, maybe 11 years.
Has it been that long?
Oh, it's been that
Yeah.
long. Maybe more.
So we went back and we had a great time. It was so much fun. We got to see some really cool shows. One of the shows that was there, what was their name again? Something
Kamikaze Fireflies.
Kamikaze Fireflies. they were on America's Got Talent, and they went to the live shows. So we got to see their act in person, and it was by far an amazing. Like, it was such a superior show to what was
Expected.
And we enjoyed it so much. And then we also saw another show with a guy who, the show was supposed to be it was supposed to be the guy not uttering any words. It was only supposed to be like by whistles and that kind of stuff, grunts and whatever.
Mimes. What?
Go ahead.
I'm just helping you.
So, and it ended up taking a little bit of a funny turn because there was a heckler in the crowd who caused him to break out of his character and I think pretty much put him in his place. And it was hilarious because he kept on pointing back to it. And it was just such a good, it was a good time. We saw some crazy costumes, stuff that like...
We saw nudity.
Yeah, well, that's the Renaissance Fair for you.
I mean, but was it really?
Well, no, I think it's there's an interpretation of it now.
But I wonder if it really was. Like, what
I
if
don't
we
know.
could be transported to that time frame right now and we walk around and we're like, why are so many people naked?
Yeah.
And then we would be shocked.
And look, listen, there's no other way of saying this, but some of the ladies, the way that they were dressed, I can only imagine that they tied their corsets to the back of the vehicle and had somebody drive one way while they were holding on to a tree at the other.
I found out this week that women tape their breast together with tape.
Okay.
And the tape goes over your shoulder to give you a lift, to keep everything together, all of that.
Well,
Can I just say that I'm like hugely against bras, okay? Because they are so uncomfortable and a pain to wear. I can't even imagine tape, bra, corset, spillage.
in the heat of South
I
Florida
can't.
all day long, like, and it's not like, yeah, it's open at the top, but the dress at the bottom is thick. I mean, they're walking and they're dragging this thing around all day long. And it was just really, really, really interesting. So, but there was one thing that Ketmia and I had always been curious about, and they had a show for it, and we decided that we were going to go.
Oh my God. I
What?
can't believe it. You're going to talk about the show.
Yes. So we see that there is a hypnotist at 1:00. And we're like, all right, we got to go to this thing. We got to see
How it works.
Oh,
Because neither of us believe.
this whole thing is going to tie into the beginning.
Huh?
This whole thing is
okay.
going to tie into the beginning.
Okay.
All right. So we go and we get there, and Ketmia's like, we should volunteer. I immediately am like, nope.
I'm glad we didn't volunteer.
Yes.
After watching the show,
Yeah. So I was like, nope, this is not going to happen. This is, I don't believe it.
Okay,
right?
tell me now that we're safe here. Why didn't you want to volunteer? Were you secretly scared that they would actually hypnotize you
No.
and then you would act like a fool and make a fool of yourself in front of people?
No, I was not trusting of myself to not make a fool of him.
But you could have blamed it on hypnosis.
No, because then I wouldn't have been following his instructions.
Oh, yeah. But they fixed that because they said whoever isn't hypnotized needs to walk off the stage.
Yeah, I know. But I would have made a fool out of him before, just because he wasn't very good. First of all, he wasn't. His showmanship sucked. But so while we were going back and forth, this onslaught of ladies gets on stage. It was not one guy that volunteered for it, and he starts going into the, now you're going to feel sleepy, and all this kind of stuff that he was going, and all of a sudden he's like, and now you're going to sleep, and there was a group of 3 young ladies who were flipping and flopping on the stage like if they were on puppet strings. It was hilarious to me because you could tell that they were faking the entire time. But the desire to be front and center and part of the show, right, created these fake situations for them, right? And then to top it off, one of the older ladies kept on looking over, right? And she's seeing what they're doing and that they're getting the main showtime, and she starts flipping and flopping herself so that she can get some attention. And the hypnotist guy just kept on going back and saying, "No, I'm gonna just put you right back to sleep." And she'd have to play dead again or whatever she was doing, right? So when he finally calls up the stars of the show, right, the ones that were like hypnotized or whatever, and he asks, "Oh, what is your profession?" The girl, without hesitation, "Oh, I'm an actress." And I'm like, "Welcome to your stage." You did exactly that. You acted for the last 20 minutes.
And I know that there's one person out there who is saying, well, how can you judge if they were hypnotized or not, right? It's because all of them kept opening their eyes, peeking around, and closing their eyes again.
Yep.
Which is a clear violation of what he said would happen, because you would not awake until he counted backwards. So, I mean, you had this theory that of all the people there was going to be like one person who was set up. After watching that, none of those people were set up. He baited them into exactly what the show's meant to be, which is you volunteer to be on stage.
Yeah, come make a fool of yourself.
Exactly. I'm just going to tell you what to do, because then there was even one girl who would be given instructions, and it was like perfectly following them to a T. And when he would move away, she would like peek her eyes, and it's like, oh no, he's looking at me. Close your eyes again, right? And it's like, oh, okay. Such a terrible show. That is the worst show.
Yeah.
You have to think that they must have either a contract with the fair to be there for however long, or what is his deal?
No, and then the Irish dancers were coming on that same stage right after the show was over, and he noticed that I guess his time was running out, so he quickly like snapped his fingers, and everyone came out. It was like not like immediately. Like there was, "Oh, you're fine," ding ding, like everything was back. And then the girls, there was a group of them that were like friends all together, and they were right in front of us. And the one girl's like, "Oh my goodness, I can't remember anything. I felt like I was like in such a deep sleep, and it's incredible." And she was like, it just compounding on top of her lie that everyone could see.
She even came over to say her lie. Why would you even do that?
Yeah.
It almost makes you like a fool on top of a fool. You acted like a fool, and now you're over there believing that we believed your lie? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was a terrible show. If anyone from the Renaissance Fair is listening, that is a terrible show. It needs to go. At least make it funny or something.
Right?
At least engage the crowd.
Well,
I don't know.
That just goes to show you the lengths that people will go to be liked.
Well,
to
and
fit
to have
in.
your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. So with us, you're gonna get what you're gonna get. Today, we had to talk about some serious stuff. I felt like it needed to come off our chest, off my chest.
I apologize.
You all
Oh my
right there?
goodness, I'm sorry.
We yawn in the middle of
I'm
our
so
our
sorry.
thing.
I usually
Right?
hold those back,
Yep. We just
and I could not.
You have gotten the most real podcast out there. This is it. So, if you think it's worth listening to, tell somebody else so that they can listen to it too.
Be a friend.
Be a friend and share it. And we will see you next week.
And next week is going to be what? Because this is Hello March to everybody.
Yeah. Wow, it is
already.
March. Yep. And next weekend we move Nikki up to Orlando.
Oh, yeah. So next weekend we are not going to be in town.
We are not.
We may.
We'll try and get a recording.
We'll try it, yes.
But we may not.
Because we are leaving on Saturday.
Yes. And I'm actually leaving in a couple hours to drive up to Orlando to help our son move over to the apartment where my daughter's going to move into next weekend.
Yep.
So 2 weekends in a row, long drives, lots of work, lots of stuff that we're doing. But
then before you know it, it's going to be April.
Yeah. Crazy. And you have finals this week for physics.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. So we might see you next week. We might not. But if we don't, I promise that we'll have some good stories for you on the next one. Yes?
Yes.
All right. See you guys next time. Bye now.
Bye.